It has been a struggle lately to be a White Sox fan. That is why us Sox fans need a community now more than ever. And let's discuss that with my guest on today's episode of Locked On White Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm your host, Todd Welter, a lifelong Sox fan, contributor for SouthsideShowdown.com, part of the Fansided Network, and also I've covered Major League Baseball for outlets such as the Associated Press. And thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure to hit the like button on today's episode. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox if you've not done so already, and also follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Something really cool is actually happening this Sunday at the rate before the game, and it got me thinking, I want to talk to one of those guys who hosts these awesome tailgates that John Triffin talks about on TV broadcast, and that is the Chicago Sports Bum Tailgates. And I got the head bum in charge, the HBIC, with me to talk about the Sox fan community they are helping foster as we manage through these tough times. Then I want to discuss if you'd be willing to sacrifice the tailgating if it meant developing Comiskeyville, and then I want to discuss where Southpaw ranks in Sox mascot lore. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And with me, the head bum in charge, the HBIC, the Chicago Sports Bums. Thank you for joining me. Before I actually jump into the event, we are recording this a day ahead, but it's going to be the major news of the day right now. And tomorrow, Tim Elko, he's back. Hallelujah,
yes.
Right?
Yes, Tim Elko's back. Todd, thank you for having me. We're happy to be talking with you about Sox and the tailgates as well. Lot of stuff to break down here. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, and just really quick with the Tim Elko, yes, he's back. I mean, not only do I want him to stay up, he should be the everyday first baseman going forward. Am I correct?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I guess, having Sosa not have his foot on the bag kind of exposed, we kind of need a first baseman on this team. And happy to see that it was actually Elko and not Andrew Vaughn getting called up. Since he got sent back down, he has struggled a little bit. I've seen in Charlotte, he wasn't, when before he got caught, he was just smashing the ball, home runs galore. And then, not so much. And maybe he was deflated. Maybe he more mental. I talked about this in our pod, and it was, they do the video when he got called up, and it was the feel good moment, and everybody's teary eyed and yes, happy. And then, 2 weeks later, he's sent back down, and maybe that kind of broke him a little bit. Maybe it just hurt him, and that's why he struggled. But he had a good game yesterday, so they call back up. They need a first baseman. He needs those reps. I mean, you're not gonna. He's proven everything he can in Charlotte, and it does take a time to adjust to major league pitching, and let's give it to him. Andrew Vaughn, we've seen what he is, and I said it that if Vaughn's going to get called back up, he needs to be hitting 400 plus for a month straight for me to be convinced that he's fixed whatever is wrong with him. So until that, Tim Elko time, we're all a bunch of alcoholics down here, and we're ready for it. Let's hopefully he continues to progress as we think he should.
I love the alcoholics. That's great. That is fantastic. And yeah, I agree with you. And plus, not that, what I've always said is, even if he's just a guy that, I'm rooting for him to hit 25, 30 home runs, even if he's Matt Davidson for the next 2 years, that's fine. You know how dirt cheap it is to have a first baseman like that then that can hit you power? I'm willing to have him on that. But tell me the White Sox, tell the White Sox fans that listen to this show that may not be familiar with the Bums. I don't know why you wouldn't be, because you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
And also, especially, there are those that have left Twitter. What are you guys doing and Sox on 35th doing this Sunday?
So we are throwing probably the biggest tailgate party of the summer. We are throwing Southpaw, the fuzzy green dude himself, his 21st birthday party. The Sox have reached out and asked if we were interested in doing the tailgate, and obviously we said, yeah, we'll do it. And we got paired up with Sox on 35th, and not being familiar with Sox on 35th, but we never actually worked with them before. So it's been great. They've been great. They've, great group of guys and everything, and easy to work with. But we do big tailgates throughout the year called Whiskey at Comiskey. We do them once a month. And we decided that, we're going to take what we do and just transition it to a 21st birthday party. So we're very excited about this. We feel like in these past couple of years of us doing perpetual rebuilds and everything, that we'd like to help Sox fans decompress at games, and maybe you don't want to go into the game to watch the product in the field. We've had that before where people have come up to us and said, yeah, I'm just going to your tailgate and that's it. So we like to give people a reason to at least enjoy parts of the season and any aspect of the season you can. So Sunday morning, starting at 10 a.m., we're going to be throwing, like I said, Southpaw 21st birthday bash. We're going to be doing some beer pong. If you check our socials, we got this nice custom built Southpaw beer pong table, beer funnel. We're going to have a cake for him. He is going to be stopping by. So he will be making an appearance. So we're going to be singing happy birthday for him, but we're also going to be doing, just making sure we got Bloody Mary bar. We got a mimosa bar for everyone. And for food wise, we're like, it's 21st birthday. You're doing drinking games, you're running it back, feeling nostalgia-ish and all that. Like, we need drunk breakfast food. So we're going to have White Castle, McDonald's, Taco Bell breakfast for everyone. So it's going to be a great time for everyone. We thank everyone who already RSVP'd and probably more who are going to show up last minute. But it's something you don't want to miss this Sunday.
And the reason why I wanted to also get you in is not just to promote the event, because I think it was a neat idea. And the Sox on 35th crew have had Jordan Lazowski on, and Joe Bender. I've already reached out, but he's got a crazy schedule. So that's why I was like, I got to reach out to the head bum in charge and get him on. The reason why I actually think this is neat, and you brought it up, is the White Sox are actually starting to embrace these fan communities. And that's kind of a neat thing for the organization to do, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've seen it like with the guys from the 108, they've been in the commercials, and now they're getting their bobblehead. And I feel like that's good, because like when your attendance is down, when the product on the field isn't bad, you need these super fans, these diehards who are going to be with the team through and through. You got to reward them somehow. And, we were gracious enough to be asked to participate in the Southpaw 21st birthday commercial. So we got, that's, I don't know if you've seen it on CHSN and, floating around their socials as well. So it's great to see that, because I feel like, you go to all the, like, a lot of Sox fans, they complain about like game day operations and, getting into the park and the fan experience. And especially when you go to other parks and you see what other teams will do for season ticket holders, and whether it's separate entrances or these perks and this kind of perk, whatever. And the Sox fans were pretty vocal, especially a lot of season ticket holders were pretty vocal for the past couple of years about like, well, you guys don't do this, we don't do that, and I feel for most part, Sox have tried to make some concessions and giving, those extra perks to season ticket holders. But now that they're actually embracing the fandom as well, that's a good step in the right direction. And I hope they continue to build off that, because there is a great community in White Sox Twitter that just, regardless of the ups and downs, they're stuck through with this team, and they're going to continue to support it. And being recognized and acknowledged is an awesome experience.
And the other cool thing is like how you brought up from the 108 and you guys, it's not like you guys are like these, big positive, like, we will blindly follow you to the ends of the earth. Like, you guys are very critical of that. And usually the White Sox in the past have been like, well, we don't want to embrace that. And now here they are. They're asking you to host the tailgate. They're asking you to throw Southpaw a 21st birthday celebration and have all this fun stuff. It is starting to seem like maybe they're actually starting to get it that, hey, we shouldn't be, jerking our fans around.
Yeah. And I hope this kind of leads into future changes, because I've, dealing with the Sox for the past couple years with our tailgates, just in communication with them. I've been very vocal about, like, and I think most people have, about the parking lot operations, like, we understand that that's a separate entity from the organization. But when you see, like, you go, like, when we last year, we did, a big tailgate with Sox Machine and the 108 guys for the Milwaukee road trip. And going into that stadium, going into the parking lots, you see how vastly different it is when you can bring tents, you can reserve a dozen parking spots, you can bring a trailer smoker, and kegs and all this. And, like, there's so much that like us as a group for our tailgates, we would like to do to, make it grow exponentially, but we're kind of handcuffed by what we can actually do in the parking lots. And I hope that when they see the outpour and the support that like we're continuing to get with our Whiskey at Comiskey tailgates, and now with the Southpaw 21st birthday tailgate, that maybe those will start leading some changes, and we can actually, when you see like at a Bears game at Soldier Field, just something like to help the fans get that better experience in the lots.
Yeah, and for those that are listening, you're like, what are you talking about tailgating? There's a method to my madness actually on here. And I talked about it on Tuesday's show. The Sox, then we're going to be losing out on building a new ballpark in the South Loop. And I want to discuss after the break if it would be worth developing some of the parking lots around the rate instead of just leaving Bridgeport. And I want to discuss that next on Locked On White Sox. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. And whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. And the smart way to play is FanDuel's traditional money lines, spreads, and over-unders. But if you want to win big, it's the parlays, props, and futures. There's always the chance to at least double or even triple your money and win even more by going with the parlays, props, and futures. For example, FanDuel is running a 4-leg same-game parlay involving Pascal Siakam, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton, and Jalen Williams, all scoring 25-plus points. That is at plus 3,915 the last time I checked. So if it hits, you say put $10 on it. You can win $391.55. And new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And welcome back to Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter. Again, make sure to hit the like button on today's episode and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox if you've not done so already. And if you can't catch the show on YouTube, Locked On White Sox is available on all major podcast platforms, so make sure to follow or subscribe on places such as Apple or Spotify. Either way, get your 30-minute fix of Chicago White Sox baseball venting with me. And joining me on the show from the Bumcast, another great White Sox podcast and content sites, is the head bum in charge, the HBIC. He also said, I know him like that. I can call him Jason too. Wow.
That's true.
Yeah. And to make sure, because you've been gracious with your time, where can we find all the great Bumcast stuff?
So you can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram at Shy Sports Bums. We do our weekly show, the Bumcast, Mondays, 8 p.m. We do that live. We talk, we started as a White Sox podcast, but we figure like we are Chicago sports. So we also do a lot of Bears and Hawks content as well. And then obviously we do a lot of nonsense as well, pop culture, just stuff that's going to make you laugh and, try to get through your day. So, but we are heavy in the Sox right now. And then end of July, we'll be, talking a lot of Bears and Sox as well. So
yeah, I mean,
give us a follow if you can. We appreciate everyone who supports us.
Yeah. Make sure to subscribe to their channel too on YouTube. One of the things that I actually give credit to the White Sox is encouraging a tailgate culture. It's obviously, like you said, it's not like the Brewers. I mean, that's a whole different type of world there. But if it means keeping the Sox in Bridgeport or Chicago in general, because again, the Fire just claimed dibs on the 78, are you willing to sacrifice some of the parking lots to build Comiskeyville and maybe get rid of that tailgate culture?
So I kind of look at this from like two different like lenses right now, because like I've been to like other ballparks and you see like the areas that are built up, obviously, like in Pittsburgh and St. Louis, Colorado, like Milwaukee's, just big empty. But you see some of these like just communities, ballpark villages, and I've never been one to say like the Sox needed to move to the 78 or to Arlington, or obviously I don't want them to move to Nashville, which isn't going to happen no matter how much people put that narrative out there. MLB owners will never allow that, in my opinion. But I think that they can do what they have in the surrounding community and just build it up more. I mean, a lot of Sox fans do want more venue, more bars, more restaurants in the area to go to. And obviously, you got Corks and you got Turtles right there nice walking distance. And I remember, 20 years ago when, you could stay in the bullpen bar 45 minutes after the game ended and they weren't just kicking you out right after the game ended. Like, and you could just hang out there. And that was good times. I would like to see the area developed more. And one of my beefs was that if they moved to the 78, that people were saying like, oh yeah, like there's not going to be any parking lots. There's tailgating is going to be done. And I could see that from, Jerry's perspective and the Sox perspective. Like, yeah, we don't want people like eating and drinking for free in the lots. We want them to come in and spend money at our venues and, give us the concession money. And I see it from their aspect, but like tailgating culture is embedded in White Sox. Like that's one things that we love. So I think, like there's Lot B, I think, is probably the epitome for tailgating. Now, obviously tailgating goes on in like Lot G and D. So I think if it meant like taking up some of those other parking like lots and building up like more infrastructure, more villagey aspects, like you want to say Comiskeyville, more Bridgeport. I think that's fine as long as they keep us giving our little area in Lot B. I'll be happy. But selfishly, like I know that if more opportunities for fans to go pregame and postgame are available, that's going to potentially be less people who show up for us. But that's also why we keep our tailgates free for everyone. That's why we bring in like sponsors like Firewater Barbecue and other half brewing from Ramova and, whiskey vendors like Maker's Mark, Michter's, Bardstown. That's why we try to get the incentive for people to come to our tailgates. And again, we're not charging people. We just want to have a great fan community experience. And I kind of want, like the best of both worlds. Give us a few more options to go to, but also don't eliminate the tailgating culture completely.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, for example, I believe it's Lot B, if I remember, like old Comiskey Park, that lot, you could develop that, like that area, and then you could still keep other lots. Although the one thing I give the Sox credit for, I mean, granted, it was 30 years ago. If I do recall, when they first opened Comiskey, they did not allow tailgating at all because Jerry wanted everybody to go eat at his place, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I got to give you guys a bone on there." But the other reason why I'm not the only reason why I get irked about the 78, I mean, again, Jerry can do whatever he wants with the team as long as he keeps it in Chicago. But he wanted to go to the 78 because, you want to draw a different type of fan, aka the stereotype of people still being scared of Bridgeport. Oh my gosh, it's unsafe. Can you please explain that is just an old stereotype? I mean, Bridgeport is developing. Isn't Bridgeport even becoming more bougie?
Yeah, I would say if you walk around some of those, like the neighborhood immediately outside the ballpark, you see like these are a lot of like newer, modern built houses, and they're very well maintained and nicer communities. Like I don't feel unsafe like walking to like a friend's house or something, close by after a game. And I know that it has that stagnant from, the public housing and like in the expressway and all that. But that's not the Bridgeport community. And I don't know if the Ishbias want to, mess with that area, but there is that surrounding area around the ballpark where you can do some things. And obviously like the park, Armour Square, you don't want to really mess with parks, but there is stuff that like, but again, going back to the 78, like, yes, that you're going to get a lot of corporate like people coming over there, a lot of the high rise, and they're not going to be like, I don't think as much as the diehard fans as you would have in the Bridgeport neighborhood. And, it's just, they want to go where the money is. Right. And South Loop seems to be where money is. And I don't think I think they kind of discount the neighborhood itself in Bridgeview. Yes, it could be considered blue collar, but it's the people who are going to go there and spend the most money. I don't think you're going to get people who live closer to 78 who are just going to be going there and just embracing the team as itself and spending a lot more money there. I think your moneymaker is going to be in Bridgeview.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, in Bridgeport.
Yeah, and it's the community that's been supporting this franchise for 125 years. And again, I'm from the Northwest. I grew up in the Northwest, way Northwest suburbs, McHenry County. Somehow I'm a White Sox fan, but I never felt unsafe going when I was around the ballpark. And my dad had season tickets and he took me to games. And in fact, we got dropped off about 13, 14 blocks away from what it was Comiskey Park in the 1993 AL West or in the AL pennant, because you couldn't get close. It was that. And we were fine as long as you're wearing Sox gear too. It's not like anybody in the neighborhood's like, oh man, we're it's such an old stereotype, especially with Armour Square Park. That radio host made that up when he got attacked, and it drives me nuts because it feels like this like almost Cub fan stereotype, like, oh, you can't go there. The park is right off the Dan Ryan Expressway. I mean, it's so accessible.
Yeah, I back in the day, I used to if I was going to like a weekday game, and I didn't want to pay for parking, I knew a spot that a friend told me about that was free parking, like not metered, over by, I think I want to say like 36th and like State Street. So it's a walk from the park, especially at a night game, coming back, walking there through 10 o'clock at night. And I never felt like, oh my God, like, I need to look over my shoulder or anything. Like I'm crossing the Dan Ryan, like, God forbid, so that's just people who are trying to fearmonger, and I don't think those issues, I think, are way in the past as far as what you need to worry about being around the ballpark.
Yeah. All right. So I want to circle back to Southpaw after the break, and let's just discuss where he ranks in the White Sox mascot lore. Welcome back to Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter. Again, shout out to all the everydayers. I appreciate your loyalty. Please hit the like button on today's episode and recommend to your fellow Sox fans or baseball fans. Friends, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox, wherever they get their podcasts, as this show is available on all major podcast platforms. And here with the head bum in charge, the HBIC, I get to call him Jason. I feel lucky, but from the Bumcast. Again, you guys have this awesome tailgate coming up on Sunday to celebrate Southpaw turning 21. It's really cool that the White Sox did reach out to you and Sox on 35th. Southpaw has actually lasted the longest in terms of mascots, but I got to ask, does he outrank Ribby and Rhubarb?
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, I'm dating myself, and, like I was a little kid when, they were around, but they looked at just like Fraggle Rock rejects to me, just like reject Muppets from the 70s. Not a very like just general mascot kind of what you expect is what the Sox were trying to go for. I guess they tried to the same people who did the Philly Fanatic were trying to work with them about getting their own mascot, but Southpaw, he's the dude, right? I mean, it's funny because like when they first debuted him out, everyone's kind of like, wait, is he a dinosaur? Is he a dragon? Is he a dog? Like, what exactly is Southpaw? But he's the guy. Like, he makes those games fun. That whether it's sitting behind home plate, and he's doing the arm wave, distracting like the pitchers, just interacting with fans, going to events. I think he's definitely the most likable mascot that the Sox had in their history. And I guess, Waldo, there was no physical presence, with him, just for commercials and everything. But he's a Hall of Fame mascot for a reason. And he will always be up there as one of the top MLB mascots of all time.
See, I think Southpaw is Ribby and Rhubarb getting it right. Because, like, he kind of does sort of look, he obviously doesn't have that Muppet reject, but he kind of has, like, what is he? Is he a monster? Like, kind of that Sesame Street vibe that I think they were trying to go with Ribby and Rhubarb. But Ribby and Rhubarb were like, even when I was a kid, I'm like, what is this? This isn't Snuffleupagus. And I'm dating myself too. And then you're right. Waldo the Wolf might have been the worst concept ever because all he did was he existed on the scoreboard. It's like, where is he? And I remember being a kid, like, where's Waldo then? And why am I looking for Waldo a wolf? I should be looking for a Waldo in striped shirts and that type of stuff. It was one of the worst ideas that I ever think, and I'm so glad that they retired him, and at least they gave us something physical. And I think the other thing is Southpaw, they don't take he doesn't take himself seriously. That's the great thing about him.
Yeah, no, he's just fun to entertain with, and obviously like on family Sundays and everything, he's always taking pictures with the kids and, just interacting and just being a goofball. So like he's got that goofballiness, but it's in a good way. So it's not over. I guess it's not over the top where it's like, he's trying too hard with this. I feel like it comes naturally. And, she showed up at our tailgates a couple times and is always a big hit. Like people just love taking pictures with them and, shaking hands, high-fiving and everyone and, doing the arm wave when people want. So, we were hoping that he was actually going to come when he comes on Sunday, that we were going to able to do a keg stand with him, but they said no kegs, unfortunately. So, we cannot get Southpaw to do a keg, but we might have to have since he'll be of legal drinking age now. We'll have to give him his first shot of Malort, maybe do a Chicago handshake with them. And once he starts drinking, we'll have to see if, hopefully he doesn't change. Hopefully he still stays the fuzzy green dude and lovable and, he doesn't go down the rabbit hole. So
yeah, hopefully like on Monday he doesn't show up smoking a cigarette being like, hi, my name is Southpaw.
I'm Southpaw, kids.
I mean, I really hope his 21st birthday doesn't go the way that like mine is. I remember waking up and being like, how the heck did I get back home? And why am I in a pool of my own vomit? And then my 21st birthday lasted another full week where my sister thought I would want to go to a Cubs game instead of a Sox game. But it was a whole different thing. So hopefully, it's, you guys treat Southpaw well. Now, I'm going to have probably somebody jump into the comments, so I got to bring it up. Annie the Clown was well before my time, so I can't really go over them, but I got to ask, the Sox, do they got like anybody that can at least make some balloon animals for kids, or what's the experience like for if you're bringing your kids?
So you talk about to a tailgate or to a game?
To a game, around there.
So I don't have any kids, so
yeah.
I don't.
But just what you see. Yeah,
but what I see, obviously, like, from like I had mentioned, like family Sundays, and then having like the deck, the Xfinity Zone, whatever you wanted to call it, they want to call it now, but the fan deck, the family deck, and then being able to have the kids run the bases and everything like that after games. The Sox have always done a great job like with kids, and then like the first game certificate, and as far as balloon animals, I'm not 100% sure. I know we have a resident White Sox Twitter person who comes to our tailgates who she does balloon animals. She has done balloon animals in the past. So we might have to resurrect this. And, I'm not going to say we allow like underage drinking in our tailgates, because we don't, but if you bring your kids there, we might have to do some balloon animals for you to.
I think I'm suggesting something here, because again, they don't need to drink, but yeah, you might want to have something fun, and none of that. Then you don't have to have somebody as creepy as a clown. I mean, I'm sorry. Anytime I've looked at Andy the Clown, to anybody that will jump in the comments, he was scary. Okay, how did he not get charged with a crime?
I mean, different era back then, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
we're different time.
Talking 50 years ago, and then Ruby and Rhubarb came by and plucked him out of a job. So.
Yeah, but I mean, we're glad that you're. I think it's really cool that you're doing it. I really appreciate what all you guys do. You and the guys from the 108, the Bumpcast, and that's the other thing. Like, are you going to rub it in from the 108 guys that you guys get to have your event first?
No, we get along very well with them. Like they've been big supporters of us, and obviously us of them, and like we recognize like where our strength is, and like with us in like having a good ground game for tailgating and everything. And, we try to make sure we stay in our lane and do what we do best. And I think a lot of us have come to know, a lot of people in the Sox community have come to know the Bums as the tailgate guys, and Whiskey is Comiskey as like a can't miss event. And, we've been tailgating in all this like lots for over 20 years now, probably going back to 2001, 2002-ish. And if you look at some of our pictures from like early tailgates, and it's just little charcoal Weber grills and, cooler full of beers and a folding chair. And it's pretty pathetic. And then to see what we've grown into throughout the years, and especially in the last 3 years, just having a lot of the White Sox Twitter and fan community embrace us and see that like, yeah, these guys like throw a fun time, and again, we don't charge anything for our events. We like to give back, and we say like, hey, buy some merch, like from us, that goes a long way to help supporting our tailgates, to help keep them free for everyone. So, but we like I've seen people in Lot B, like they do tailgates and they want to charge for having someone there or having a DJ or like someone showing up, and it's like, no, like we're not going to do that. Like if you support us, just like I said, you're going to support us whether it's through merch or you're going to Venmo us some cash, but we never ask for anything. We love giving back, and even though like this event is going to cost us like a couple $100, I shouldn't, a few $100 to do. We're not like being like, what, well, this is the one time we should be charging people. No, we're keeping it free. We want everyone to have a good time. We want to celebrate Southpaw. We want to celebrate him being just an awesome mascot and awesome for the White Sox and for the fans as well. And we're going to continue doing that until the wheels fall off. I might be 60 still throwing whiskey at Comiskey tailgates. So or until they ban us from the lots going forward. So who knows? But yeah, we thank everyone for the support, and we just hope that everybody will continue to show up and come out, obviously on Sunday, and support Southpaw for his big day.
Yeah, and also just to come together and we can all support each other to get through these struggling times. And hopefully you guys are having tailgates down the road where there's a good team, and we can be talking about hosting a tailgate, and because we're just celebrating having a good team. But anyway,
that's what we're waiting for, that like nice like Saturday playoff, like ALCS, like Saturday night tailgate. That's what we're waiting for, that event, because that's gonna just be another level.
Yeah, well, that wraps up this edition of Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. And I'll be back tomorrow with a discussion with Gabe Ramirez of CHSN and the Chicago Fire in-game host to discuss the Fire's baller move for calling dibs on the 78 and probably ruining Jerry Reinsdorf's hopes of getting the taxpayers to foot the bill of building him a stadium on that land. Feel free to leave comments about today's discussion with the head bum in charge of the Bumcast, the HBIC. And again, where can we find all your great content?
Find us, like I said, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at Shy Sports Bums. And Todd, thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
No problem. And you can leave any comments about this episode on the episode page on YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, at Todd J. Dub or at Locked On Sox, or you can email me at lockedonwhitesox@gmail.com. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.